that have pointed to peace, in all of the cures that have promised release. The message was in all of these. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey. In all of the books I've read and reread, in all of the lectures that play in my head, the wisdom of the great ones has said, the joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey for me. Now don't be mistaken or misled, my friend. I got my days with the blues, but when I am down, I am helped back again by someone who's been there too. So in all of the good times, in all of the bad, in all of the chances I'd forgotten I'd had, the kindest thought always comes back. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey for me. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey.
Heard a loving voice, here's a chance to make things brighter. But this judging man, he made a choice to fall asleep and hide there. But the torrents came, as they often do, when the winds of change come blowing through. Wake up, step up, love is calling you. Don't run from love, it's only there to remind you of what you hold deep inside you. Whoa, it's only love can find you in any darkness. Shine a light where your heart is. Love is calling you. A frightened man inside a storm, holding only his prayer, swallowed whole this hungry soul, discovered wisdom there. In cold and shadowed solitude, he caught a breath of gratitude. Wake up, step up, love is calling you. Don't run from love, it's only there to remind you of what you hold deep inside you. Whoa.
Yes, love is calling us all this morning to gather. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday to you. This is Maxine Kay welcoming you, wherever you may be, to the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living right here in Paoli, Pennsylvania. And when I say wherever you may be, of course I mean both wherever you may be living and tuning in right now, as well as wherever you may be on your spiritual journey. And today is all about that. So welcome. We're glad that you're with us today, and we trust that you'll find something here that will continue to inspire you on your path of spiritual progress, because this is a beloved community. I'm really very much in love with all of our people, and we work together, we play together. We aren't together physically as much as we were for a while and as much as we will be. But in the meantime, isn't this a wonderful way for us to be together, heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul, celebrating that divine life that's within us all? We walk together along a path of spiritual progress. We love together, we laugh together, we pray together, we cry together. That's what a community is about. And we continue to find ways to do that, even when we're not yet meeting in person again. So continue to be with us. Continue to celebrate that divine life that is thriving within us all. And here's an opportunity for us to remind each other about it. For we have spiritual tools that work in so many beautiful, in fact, wonderful, or sometimes not so wonderful human condition to raise us up. And that's what we do. We raise each other up. And so we are all about awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Let's all wake up. Let's all wake each other up. And let's stay awake. And it's a wonderful thing to realize that we have that power. It's the power of God within us all that allows us to recognize and to celebrate that precious life within everyone and everything. Because we are all about co-creating a world that works well for all. And we have a purpose phrase, one that we created some time ago that seems to fit so well for what we believe and what we practice that we continue to say it every week. And I'm going to invite you to say it with me now. Ready? Living, loving, learning, spirituality that works. And now we're going to have an opening song by Claudia Carawan called The Journey.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you sing a song of joy, other times you sing in the blues. Through all the ups and downs, I've come to see I'm being guided by a force of mystery. Traveling on the journey. The soul is on a journey of a destiny unknown, and it follows faithfully the path which is its own. 2 steps forward, 1 step back along the way. Life is sweeter when you take it day by day. Traveling what road lies ahead or where I'm bound. It's only in reflection that I realize what I found. Traveling on the journey. Another road, another dream, another day, another pilgrim trying to find her way. Traveling on the journey. Traveling on the journey. Don't know where I'm going, but I'm sure gonna enjoy the ride. Wondering what it's like on either side. Yeah. On the journey. I heard the pirates call to find another way through the odyssey of every breaking day. I'm traveling on the journey, yeah. 2 steps forward, 1 step back along the way. Traveling on, life ain't nothing but a journey.
Hi, kids. Would you like to gather around, have a little chat with Auntie Maxine before you go back to your Sunday activities? Oh, my gosh. Well, you know that I miss you, and you know that I love you, and you know that you live in my heart, and I imagine you every time we have this little conversation on Sunday mornings, and that helps me remember that we will all be back together again, and I'm so looking forward to that. I wonder how far you can think back your memory. Some people can remember even when they're little tiny kids in a crib. I can't, but some people can. In fact, Reverend Mike can remember when he was a baby. Isn't that something? How far back can you remember? I'm guessing that you may not remember when you first turned your head to one side or the other as a tiny infant. You probably don't remember the first time you rolled over, but it's always such a surprise to that little kid. Whoa, what did I just do? And you probably don't remember when you first sat up, or when you began to crawl, or when you got better at it, or when you stood up on shaky little legs and took your first step. That happens to be one of the most exciting things in the lives of a parent, when a baby takes his or her first steps. And then you walked very confidently. And then you learned to run and ride a tricycle, and then a bicycle and skateboards and all the other things. And that was your physical journey of growing up. That's what we all do as human beings. Pretty cool system, huh? And then you began to learn things. You were read to as a little kid when you'd go to bed. Usually one of your parents would read you a bedtime story. And then you began to read the words yourself. And then you began to read books after books after books. And so you began to develop your brain. You also learned how to be loving and kind to other people and let them be loving and kind to you, so that emotionally you were becoming more mature. It's all a journey, you see, whether we're growing physically, emotionally, mentally, we're moving toward being more of our authentic self, because you and I were created out of God's life, whole, complete, and perfect, and we're here having a wonderful experience on planet Earth and learning how to get along on this planet. So we continue to grow. We continue to deepen our faith in a living presence, which is the presence of God itself that guides us every step of the way. Now, whatever grade you're in, and you're probably just completing your year. I don't know if you finish the end of May or first part of June, but soon it will be summer vacation. I don't know what you do during your summer vacation. You have different plans. I understand that, and I think it's wonderful. I celebrate them all. When I was a kid, we just would go to the beach every summer because we lived in Redondo Beach, and that was the thing to do. Some people like to go to summer school, some go to camp, and that's great. Now, whatever grade you may be in now, you'll be getting ready to get into the next one in the fall. Maybe you don't want to think about that right now, but it's kind of exciting to journey from one grade level to the next, from one school to the next, grammar school to middle school to high school. And then when you're in high school, you start thinking about where you would like to go to school after that, or what you would like to do when you graduate. And it's not too soon to start thinking about those things. And that is a very important part of your journey as well. And all the way you are guided, not only by guidance counselors and your parents and other people you love and trust, but by an inner knower within you that we all have that shows us the way, that says, yes, this is the right path, or maybe no, not so much that one. And we learn to trust that as we move along on our adventures in life. And our adventures in life are wonderful. So just relax and enjoy the journey. And whatever you want to do now, please go do it with zest and joy. And I'll talk to you again next week. Okay? Bye for now. Happy Sunday. There they go. I thought they'd never leave. Okay. I love those kids. I miss them a lot. Let's have a meditation now, shall we? Breathing in that precious life of spirit. We allow the breath to move through our bodies, our emotions, our intellect, bringing peace, bringing harmony. And as we release that breath, we let go of anything that may have been between us and peace and love and wisdom. Continue that holy breath, feeling every cell of our body responding to the aliveness of spirit within us, harmonizing, enlivening, bringing the most beautiful sense of aliveness in every area of our consciousness. Now, just as we have explored space and learned more about our universe, let's now explore our inner space as we journey within. And here we find deep peace, sweet serenity, infinite wisdom, divine love. This is the beginning. This is the source, and it dwells within us, as the master teacher taught us. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. And truly, the kingdom is within. So as we enter this holy kingdom, it is with an open-hearted faith, clear confidence that there is a wisdom within that instructs us every step of the way on this adventure of life on planet Earth. We rely upon it. It is trustworthy, more so than any external voice we may ever hear. Let's come even more deeply into this place of peace and love and infinite wisdom, and bathe in the presence of the divine. There's nothing here to do, only something to know. And what we know is that the I am that I am is the truth of our being. God is, I am. God is, I am. And now, since this is the place of bountiful beginnings, let this consciousness of love and peace and wisdom begin moving out from the very center of our being, filling even more beautifully our bodies, our emotions, and our minds, moving out into the room where we find ourselves now, and beyond into our community, our nation, bringing oneness, which is the underlying truth of all life, where divisiveness may appear, bringing peace where there has been war, bringing understanding where there may have been conflict, bringing wisdom where there may have seemed to be a lack of intelligence. Let's let the light of the Christ itself warm, bless, uplift, renew, and heal the planet and all sentient beings. And let's step into the silence, the sacred silence within the core of our hearts as we listen to the inner wisdom and its divine guidance for our journeys. So the peace of God brings understanding. The love of God brings compassion. The wisdom of God brings clear knowing. As we move upon our individual and collective spiritual journeys, all assured of enjoying the adventure and celebrating every destination, for there is not only one. How grateful, how very grateful we are. All is well. All is well. On every level, all is well.
Life can be what I make it to be. Everything real comes naturally. Magic is with me in a place I can't see. When I dream, dream of the mountains that one day I'll climb. I'll travel the oceans inside my mind. Everything's possible, everything's fine. When I dream, anytime I go inside and ask the questions in my mind, relax and breathe and enjoy the ride. Mystery adventure is waiting for me. I'll let myself float on the wings of
fire. Letting go is all that's required when I dream. When I dream. When I dream. Anytime I go inside and ask the questions in my mind, relax and breathe and enjoy the ride. Mystery adventure is waiting for me. I'll let myself float on the wings of desire, turning that feeling of passion to fire. Letting go is all that's required when I dream. 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 La la la, 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 la. La 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 la, la la la, la 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 la, 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 la
Thank you, Karen. And now I would like to welcome our practitioner, Sarah Funk, to share with us an opening treatment this morning. Sarah?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Funk, and I am a religious science practitioner for the Centers for Spiritual Living, Greater Philadelphia, in Paoli, Pennsylvania. And I will be doing this treatment this morning. But before I do, I would like to read something by Thich Nhat Hanh in his book, Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. It is possible to train ourselves to see and experience the present moment in a deeper way. And once we touch reality deeply in the present moment, we touch the past, we touch the future, and we touch eternity. We are the environment, we are the earth, and the earth has the capacity to restore balance, even if many species must disappear before balance is restored. It doesn't take years of practice to touch it, eternity in the present moment. In a split second, you can touch it. Taking just one breath or one step on the earth with mindfulness and concentration can help you transcend time. When you touch the present moment deeply, you have an eternity to live.
Thank you, Sarah. Now let's share together our affirmation for the day. Ready? Every morning I awake, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm as I set forth to do those things which Divine Mind guides me to do. Now we have a special speaker this morning. I'm happy to introduce him to you. It's all about adventuring, isn't it? This beautiful journey of life that we're on. And I'm happy to remind you, unless you don't know this, that he and I embarked on a great adventure over 7 years ago, probably 7.5 years ago now. And it is a delight to walk along the road on our spiritual evolution together. And I know that it's also a delight to you who work with him, who take classes with him, like our Saturday morning and the others that he teaches. It's a delight to walk along a road with him. He's inspiring. He's encouraging. He makes a difference in life, for which I'm deeply grateful. So I would like to introduce to you now, speaking about embarking on the great adventure, my beloved and yours, in whom we are all well pleased, Reverend Mike Gerdes.
I got a mic, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sweetie. I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You know, I was reminded of a phrase that life is either a daring adventure or it's nothing. You know who said that? Helen Keller. Now, Helen Keller, at an early age, became ill, and because of that illness, she became blind and deaf. And being blind and deaf, she couldn't talk either. I mean, from a young child. And she became one of the great inspirations of her age, of our age, because it wasn't that long ago that she jumped off the planet, actually. And you know what her one big regret was? That she couldn't speak more clearly. She did learn to speak, but she didn't learn to speak very clearly, and that was her only regret. Not that she was blind, not that she couldn't hear, it's just that she couldn't speak clearly, because if she spoke more clearly, she could help more people. Wow, what a concept, what an idea. So is your life an adventure? Why are you doing what you're doing? You know, it's interesting. I spoke to somebody yesterday, and I asked him what he did. A guy near the that moved into the apartment next to us, and he said, "Oh, I'm involved with computers." I said, "Well, do you enjoy what you do?" He says, "No." I said, "Why are you doing it?" "To get a paycheck." Now, there are extrinsic values and there are intrinsic values. If all you're getting is around extrinsic values, you're not going to be satisfied with anything. I mean, there's not enough money to make you happy. You can have lots of money and be unhappy. But you know, you can be not that wealthy financially. And if you find that what you're working toward or for is for those intrinsic values, those inner rewards, you can be and are very happy. I'm fortunate enough to be in a business, or have been in a business for the last 45 years, that brings radio communications equipment to public safety people. And one of the nice things about that work is that I know that I'm bringing real value. What I'm doing is more than just selling radios to make some money. What I'm doing is helping people live fuller, easier, more efficient lives, and actually saving lives. You know, the customers that I deal with are mainly policemen and firemen. And the firemen, I haven't met a fireman yet that got the job just because he liked the benefits. I mean, the benefits are fine. I mean, they're good. But he had a higher calling in doing what he was doing. What's your calling? What is driving you? What is life calling forth for you to do, to be, to know, to have? Is it just to get? Well, good for you. But if you want to have real rewards, I would suggest that you think about also the intrinsic values, the things that are really important, the things that satisfy the soul. Things that when you're centered with spirit, you can recognize that you're not just living for yourself. You're living for a greater idea, a greater purpose. Now that may be just taking care of your children, taking care of a parent, taking care of the family, taking care of the home. Those are all well and wonderful and worthwhile things to do. And it doesn't matter what you do, actually, it's the attitude in which you have it, the perspective in which you approach what it is that you're doing. There's an old story of a guy that was walking along the street and he saw this bricklayer laying down bricks, and he kept, you know how they do that, and then they're carrying up, it's hard work. And the guy said, "What are you doing?" He said, building a wall. And he went farther on down the road, and farther on down the sidewalk, actually, and he saw somebody else doing it. Because this was a big project. He said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm building a cathedral to God." So what is it you're doing, and why is it that you're doing what you're doing? It makes all the difference. There's a science called axiology I just discovered, which is the science of values. And it basically talks about intrinsic and extrinsic values and why we are doing what we're doing and where to get the good out of things. And it also, it brings to us a central question. Excuse me. And that central question is best put forward by a gentleman by the name of Pete Demarest, who I had the fortunate experience to meet at the airport a few weeks ago when I was waiting for Dr. Maxine to come in from a flight. He was waiting there and I was waiting there. He was waiting for his wife as I was waiting for Dr. Maxine. We struck up a conversation, and I asked him what he did. He says he was a consultant, a coach, a writer, speaker. I said, "Well, what have you done?" He's done a lot. And one of the things that he did, he pointed me out to this book he wrote called The Central Question, and I'm reading it now. And it brings up some interesting ideas. The idea is that whatever it is you're doing right now, ask yourself if you're feeling a little disjointed, a little off the beam, a little wrapped up in yourself, what's the most important thing I could do right now? What's the most important choice I could make right now? What's the most important action I could take right now to increase the net value? So in other words, what am I thinking? What choices am I making right now? What am I choosing to think about right now that expands the greatest net value? And I'm not talking about just value for myself, but value for all. Value for a higher purpose, a greater good. I've been studying that idea. I've been thinking about that idea. And that brings us right back to what we're talking about, is connecting with Spirit and asking Spirit to guide us and direct us, right? But I don't know about you, but I know about me. From time to time, the chatter in the mind and the old habitual subjective thinking catches in, and I forget. I forget what I'm supposed to be doing. I forget what I'm supposed to be thinking about. And yes, I meditate. I use spiritual mind treatment. And pretty good at it. And I'm pretty good at being mindful about what I'm thinking about. But I have to ask myself, what am I thinking about the rest of the time? What am I thinking about when I'm not conscious about what I'm thinking about? I'm talking about the consciousness within ourselves, that inner voices, that subjective thoughts that are spinning around, those subjective cognitive biases, those that you were taught, those that are part of race mind or collective consciousness, the fear that's going on in humanity. We are susceptible to picking that up. And so we need to ask ourselves, okay, what's the most important choice I could make right now? What's the most important thing I could do right now to increase the net value? And I find when I think about that, when I ask that question to myself, it brings me back to realizing who I am, and what I'm here about to do. We are co-creators with Spirit. I don't do things I do things to make a living. I do things to pay the bills. I do things to take care of stuff. We all have stuff we need to take care of. Granted. And if we don't take care of it, we're in big trouble. there's a greater purpose. Why am I doing what it is that I'm doing? I'm doing it for a greater purpose. I ask God to guide me and direct me. I suit up and show up for a higher power, for spirit, for God, and to serve my fellow man and woman and puppy kind. That's why I do what I do. I do what I do to lift you up, to help you awaken to your spiritual magnificence, to help you move from lives of desperation to lives of inspiration. I know that somebody out there last night cried themselves to sleep. I want you to take heart. Because no matter what you think about yourself, you're more than that. No matter what you've been told about yourself, you're more than that. Because right where you are, there's a power and a presence which is expanding to a greater idea of itself by means of you. You are here to express the greater idea of life and love. That's your job. And sometimes what that means is that we have to take a look at what we have been doing, stop, and recognize we need to do it a different way. We make so-called mistakes. Now, that's really not mistakes. Life is not telling us no. It's just telling us no, not this way. I don't know anybody that came into this life with a manual, a how-to manual to get through life. We learn as we go along. And as we go along, if we don't make mistakes, we're not growing. If we don't run into failure, we don't know what it is like to win. We need to live lives with boldness. We need to live lives of adventure. We need to embrace that greater concept and go into areas of experience and life and love that we've never been before. We need to be willing to let go of ideas that they may be comfortable. They may be ideas that we were raised with. They may be ideas that everybody else is nodding and saying, yeah, that's the way it is. But we know inwardly that it's not right. And if you've got an idea in consciousness that you recognize is not right, change it. Now, we don't have to focus a lot on getting rid of negative ideas. We don't have to take a look at those aspects of ourselves and say, no, that's bad. I shouldn't be thinking that way. Because when we're thinking about what things we shouldn't be thinking that way, we're thinking about things we shouldn't be thinking that way. What we need to do, get this, is focus on your strengths. Your real strengths. That you are an individualization of God's life and God's love, and there's been no one that's come into this life experience just like you, and you have something special to give to the world. Your own unique self, unlike anybody else. Life is either a daring adventure or it's nothing. You, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have a life of daring adventure to live. There may be problems as you go along, but bless those problems, because there is that goes with you, which is God, divine mind, the law, whatever you want to call it, that can do for us what we can't do for ourselves. You see, we have the beautiful opportunity to choose what it is that we want, embrace that idea, and then there's this creative medium that we're basically thinking into, which is the universal subjective mind. I know that gets all technical, but basically all it means is this. Power flows towards and attracts that to which I give my attention, that to which you give your attention. And so if we embrace that idea tends to manifest in our lives, and we don't need to worry about making it happen ourselves, because there is that creative power around us and within us that does for us what we cannot do for ourselves. You may find that, you may call that the law of mind, you may call it God's grace. You may say that the angels are working on your behalf. I don't care. But the point is, it works. You've got something wonderful to do in the world. And I'm calling forth for you to do it. If there's something that you've been longing to do it. Stop waiting for someday I'll, because there's been far too many people that have waited for someday I'll and they never got there. They jumped off the planet before they ever got close. Don't be like the guy that's waiting for retirement just so he could live. Let's live now. I mean, no matter what it is that you have to do now, it's not so much changing careers, it's changing your attitude about what your career is and what good you're bringing to the world. That's the key point. Change your perspective and you change the whole world. What perspective do you want to choose? What choice can you make? What action can you take in this moment to increase the net value? Whatever that is, do that. And life will be, and continue to be, a daring adventure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Mike Gerdes. That
You're
was
welcome.
wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm inspired. Are you inspired? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Well, I'm so happy that you were invited to speak today. It's wonderful to have you inspire us. So God bless. Okay, now it's time for the celebration of our prosperity. And what we do here is we invite you to give to the closest source of your spiritual food. For me, that happens to be this beloved community. And many of you make your contributions quite regularly online. Some have an automatic process, and that's wonderful. I'm just an old-fashioned girl, and I still love to give my gift in person as much as possible. I also love to hold my gift to my heart. And you know why I do that, don't you? It's because it reminds me that every good gift I have ever received, am receiving now, or ever shall receive, is a direct gift from God. So will you join me in our prosperity affirmation? I choose to celebrate prosperity. Divine love blesses my gift. It is my acceptance of God as the source of my abundant supply. With joy and gratitude, I share my abundance with this center. In doing so, I am one with the law of circulation. My tithe
You can never really know which way it's gonna go. Set your feet down on the road, facing the unknown. Staring through an open door, like you've never left the shore. Walk on through, there's so much more to find. All you ever need to bring open mind, a willing heart, the song that you were born to sing. Be a candle in the dark. One step is all it takes to start. To be the adventure you are. You are, you are, you are the adventure. You can carry all the weight of your past mistakes, but that's a heavy load to bear. Just pack what you can take. Standing on the precipice, know there must be more than this. Leaning into all that is divine. All you ever need to bring, an open mind, a willing heart, the song that you were born to sing. Be a candle in the dark. One step is all it takes to start. To be the adventure you are. You are, you are, you are. As I weave this tapestry, thread by thread, uniquely me, slumbering within the seed is everything I'll ever need. Awakening. All you ever need to bring, an open mind, a willing heart, the song that you were born to sing. Be a candle in the dark. One step is all it takes to start. To be the adventure you are. You are, you are, you are the adventure. The adventure.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday celebration. So glad you joined us. My name is Edie Janik. I'm happy to serve as the president on the board for the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living. And so glad you joined us from no matter where you are in the world, local, near, or far. We're happy that you're here today with us. I'm a little, my energy's a little weird right now because Mercury's retrograde, and there was like a lot of things going on today during this Sunday celebration from here in the Inspiration Cafe. I got kicked out of the Facebook admin sign on, and then I couldn't get back in, and then something else happened, and something else happened. But even throughout all of that and what I was trying to manage in support of delivering the Sunday celebration, I kept being pulled into Reverend Mike's talk. You ever have that happen? Like you hear a song on the radio and you're not really paying attention to the song, but you're thinking about what you're going to make for dinner or whatever, but you like find yourself going, whoa, what is this I'm hearing? That happened to me multiple times during the talk today. When I wasn't really able to focus on it from beginning to end. So I've vowed to myself to go back and listen to it from beginning to end, but I could feel the passion. And I'm still like, verklempt from it. I'm like, oh, I'm still emotional, even just from the little parts that I heard. So thank you. You did make me cry. and you will make me cry more later when I get to hear the whole thing. I love it. I love it when he gets like so full of enthusiasm. So thank you very much. And speaking of Reverend Mike, Science of Mind book textbook group continues each Saturday, and I was in the beginning attending this quite often. Haven't been there in a while, so it's hard for me to speak to it. But I know the people that do go are loving it. It's a wonderful community of members and friends going through the book. I looked it up. Page 421 is where you started yesterday. Page 421. So you've passed the middle mark and reached the section where you'll be going into teachings from the New Testament, which I always love, are evaluating those, interpreting them, trying to find the meaning and apply it in our lives. So you can still join this fabulous group. It's on Saturdays from 9:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can jump in. Just go to our events calendar and click on the Saturday you'd like to join and register. That way you'll get a link from Reverend Mike to join the session. So yeah, and you know, it's a love offering, and you don't need to be there every Saturday, but just check it out if you haven't already. It's a wonderful experience. If you're watching us and enjoy our Sunday celebrations and love notes on Facebook, on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe to share with others. When you subscribe, you'll receive notifications, and here comes neighbor Bob. Who would have known neighbor Bob was going to stop by today? Today's full of surprises. This is a big surprise day, and we're having fun. And hi. Hi. So that brings me to continuing to talk about the calendar. Have you seen the calendar on our website, cslphilly.org? You check it out a lot, right? Okay. When you go to the calendar, you can see the classes and events that are coming up. And by the way, we don't have specific dates for it yet, but coming soon. So that's why I want to point out the calendar. Check out the calendar. Please read the information that comes out from Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living info each Thursday. There's a blast that talks about things that are happening, and we have things on the horizon. No specific date right now. A picnic. Would you like to come to the picnic? It's going to be around the end of June, probably the end of June, last weekend in June. But we'll have it up on the events calendar once that gets finalized. And bingo! Yeah, don't know exactly when bingo is going to happen, but we're going to have a few bingo sessions in the course of this year. So how you can find out about those events when they're scheduled is... I love you, Bob, but not that much. Yeah. How you can find out about those sessions are by going to the events calendar and also checking out in its entirety the email message that is sent out by our lovely office manager, Linda O'Neill, under Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living. So you'll check it out. Yeah. And if you want to help with events, let us know. Don't call Bob. Bob doesn't really answer his phone much. But you can call the office. Call our office, which the phone number I don't have right now, but it's published on our website, cslphilly.org. And you can raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to help plan bingo. Hey, I'd like to help with the picnic food. Hey, I'd like to help. Okay, we'll make sure we put him to work. Have a fabulous day, and back to Dr. Maxine, I believe.
Thank you, Edie, and thank you, neighbor Bob. Gosh, I wish we had a little fun around here. You never know what's going to happen. That's the joy of it. So make sure you tune in all the time. All right. I'm having a lot of fun today. I hope you are too. We're going to have a closing song by one of our favorite musical artists, Eddie Watkins Jr., talking about the journey.
We're going to the land of milk and honey, where you don't need no money. Talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide, where your imagination can run free, and you can realize all your dreams. We're talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide. Everything you want is already there. Whatever you desire, it will appear. Oh yeah, yeah. We'll be living in heaven here on earth, experience life for all it's worth. We're talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide. But what you believe you can achieve, let your wild horses run free. We're talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide. Everything you want is already there. Whatever you desire, it will appear. Oh yeah, we're going to the land of you don't need no money. Infinite spirit, your imagination can run free, and you can realize all your dreams. Talking about the journey, Oh, let the spirit be your guide, let the spirit be your guide, let the spirit be your guide. Let the spirit be your guide, let the spirit be your guide, let the spirit be your guide. I'm talking about the inward journey. 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 We'll be living in heaven here on earth. They're talking about the journey. They're talking about the journey and what you believe you can achieve. Talking about the journey deep inside. Talking about the journey. Talking about the journey. Yeah. You don't need no money. Talking about the land of milk and honey. Everything you want is already there. We'll be living in heaven here on earth. Yes, we will. Thank you. What a band.
We know that wherever we go, we're blessed, because wherever we go, we're part of this adventure of awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence by means of us. And there we go. And so it is.